put you on the map. This is Ron Costa broadcasting live in the Mappable USA studios in Las Vegas, Nevada. And folks, today we're going to talk about some private equity projects and tie that into opportunity zones. After this is over, you're going to see how opportunity zones are working. And before we do that, let's introduce Vicky Hutchmala from the QOZ Marketplace and the Opportunity Zones Authority. Vicky, how are you doing today?
Oh, Ron, I'm so good today. It's because you know why? In Vegas, the temperature is cooling, and now we all remember why we live in Vegas for this time of year because it's so beautiful. I'm so excited, and we have an excellent guest on today, and we're going to talk about something different. So let's get started.
Absolutely. Okay, well, let's introduce Will Walker. Will is the head and the managing partner of, the head of business development and the managing partner over at Hall Venture Partners. Will, how are you today?
I'm doing well. Ron and Vicky. Thanks for having me on.
Our pleasure.
No problem. Yeah, absolutely. We're really glad that you're on the show because, we just recently met you over at the Any Size Deals Conference here in Las Vegas and really enjoyed your presentation. You had a lot of good information. And, of course, Vicky was like, we got to get him on the podcast. And now you're here. So this is going to be a great thing. I'm really happy about this.
Yeah, well, I'm happy to be here. Like I say, we've got a lot of great things happening from our family office standpoint, the Hall family office, and can't wait to share some of it with your audience and move forward.
Excellent. So before we do that, Will, let's talk about you a little bit. What's your background? How did you get into this whole business and opportunity zones and family offices? It sounds pretty exciting.
Yeah, well, thanks.
In 100 words or less, Will. 100 words or less.
100 words or less. Yeah, I don't blame you there. I believe it or not, many years ago, 70s and 80s, I started out as a professional actor, and that was had some success, won an award, and certainly started picking up on alternative investments at that time. Starting with cable television, partnerships with Bill Daniels, and escalating into early 90s into early stage internet and technology, as well as now into things like blockchain and also into opportunity zones, which I've been speaking on for about the last 4 years, three and a half anyway, and working with a lot of top authorities on opportunity zones, such as Ashley Tyson and securities attorneys and different top podcasters like others that are out there that are very credible in the opportunity zone space. So, it's been a great deal because it's really highlighted many of the projects that I see as a 28-year private equity veteran. After leaving the show business world, media world, and having some success, I really launched my private equity career, which I've been in for the last 28 plus years. And that has led me to work with many family offices, not just Hall, but many family offices and high net worth individuals and funds that are seeking high growth and yet look for risk mitigated high growth in different private and public offerings, which is kind of my specialty. And I've been fortunate to really align myself with some very historic, experienced, like I say, Hall family office alone is 70-year history. In fact, they invented the man-made diamond back in the 50s and sold it 5 times over, and it's still used in drilling and excavation all over the world today. So that's just one of their many inventions and solutions that launched this huge incubator accelerator family office that I'm now involved with and a managing partner, glad to say. So that's a mouthful, covered a lot of ground there, but I'll, see if that made any sense.
No, it did. That's a really great a background and everything. But you talk about some of these projects that you guys are looking at. Is high growth like your number one priority when you're looking for these deals, or what is it that you look for, basically? Yeah,
good question, Ron. No, we employ over at Hall campus, Opportunity Zone campus. It's a 130-acre campus in Provo, Utah. By the way, Provo got nominated by the Milken Institute as the number one high growth area, business growth area in the country. beat out, Texas and lots of different areas that wanted to get it, but that was by the Milken Institute, and that's because of Hall Family Office and Hall Labs. We employ over 700 employees there. We have over 200 full-time scientists and engineers. We have our own patent office. We have our own 3D printing. We have an amazing shared resource program there that can incubate and accelerate any company's projects, and we currently have about 135 under incubation and acceleration. About 35 of those are very late stage and that I'm working with specifically as a managing partner and head of business development, and they are in the most ESG high impact areas of the of operating companies, and especially any operating companies in an opportunity zone tax strategy, tax advantage strategy format. So this is really the cream de la cream when HUD, the big government office, and EIG and all the big think tanks look and show a PowerPoint on success stories in opportunity zones. They use Baltimore for real estate and renovation, and for operating companies, they use Hall. It's amazing when people find Hall and what they're doing, what they're offering, and their history for operating companies that have produced tremendous profits. Our average return is 8.3x. Historical return is 8.3x. Wow. And that's in 2 to 5 years. 2 to 5 years. So many of our companies also qualify for the 1202 tax code, which is 5-year hold for tax exemption instead of 10-year hold, like most people that are in opportunity zones understand or think about. So lot here to unpack, and maybe I'm getting a little too broad, but we not only employ all these people, but we've created 3.6 million jobs outside of the Hall 130-acre Opportunity Zone campus with all these shared resources and proven exit strategies. It's really quite a rare bird, I call it, where it checks all the boxes for risk mitigation as well as for profit and for tax-advantaged companies to move forward.
You know, it's a testament to Hall that they're doing exactly what the program, the Opportunity Zone program, was created for, you know, to help the distressed areas, to bring jobs into the areas, and to do it in an opportunity zone, and you get a cherry on top by having the capital gains tax deferment. And it seems, what do you think, Will? Do you think it's a trend that places like Provo that are smaller, non-major urban areas, that big business is going into these smaller areas where they can bring their campuses, put them into an opportunity zone, and create the jobs that make cities like Provo become, as you said, the fastest growing and most innovative in the country? It appears that that's happening a lot.
Yeah, that was very astute what you said, Vicki. Great observation. And yes, I already am in touch and get contacted all the time. We've had a number of governors, lieutenant governors from Michigan, Ohio come visit our campus, fly over on their dime, as well as other top institutions, Texas A&M, UMass, Arizona State. I could go down the list of major either universities or states or areas that have flown in just to study or to make some initial contact with us to joint venture with other type of incubator accelerators around the country for their area or for their university. Like I say, this has really been a great experience because it has, Utah has more engineering MBAs than any other place in the country, as well as being very, business friendly, pro business. So, the talent, the tax advantage strategy, the resources. I mean, this is why money, I manage and fortunate to be connected with a lot of family offices and work with lots of different funds. And all of that money, West Coast and East Coast, is moving over into these areas that are proven for talent, for taxes, for business growth, that type of thing. And this is why HUD, this is why EIG, all of these agencies that are so revered in opportunity zones and redevelopment or redeployment of capital and production use Hall as their poster child. So, yeah.
And we experience it too in Henderson and North Las Vegas, here in the Vegas Valley, the same kind of thing where there's space, where there's opportunity zones, and there's innovation. And, there's nothing I love better than people who create the wheel and then teach it to other places so that everybody can enjoy the benefits of it, but somebody has to be the mover and the shaker that brings everybody with them for the better.
Yeah.
And that's great.
Yeah, no, that's well put. One of the things I always like to say when I'm speaking and stuff, it's jobs, 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 number one, for the politicians and for the governments, which is, keeps their agendas flying and floating and getting funded. And then it comes down to exits, proven exits, and that's where Hall shines, because at the end of the day, even though it's always about the votes for the politicians and their agencies and getting appropriation there, it's also about, for investors that I deal with every day and speak to, about proven risk-mitigated profits, exits, and returns. And so, like the old saying does, an opportunity zone format doesn't make a bad deal good. It just makes a good deal better. Well, these are great investable companies that we have in this, these 6 that I'm crowing about in this Hall Venture Partner Fund that's currently on the table right now. It's a small fund of only $25 million. About half has been committed to already, and it's just started to open up. So I don't want to get on my soapbox, but these are 6 out of our 135 operating companies in different stages that are using our shared resource process and all the things that companies have to for years. I mean, Vanderhall Motorworks alone started 6.5 years ago, and now we've got everybody from Jay Leno in it to writing checks to Shaquille O'Neal. I mean, but it's not only that. We've got so much, all the big banks, everybody wants to get into the EV world, and to have something that's produced right here in this country, not in China, and to be in profit right now in an opportunity zone in one of the hottest sectors of the market, which is electric vehicles and power sports vehicles, which we're producing and on the road now. This is historic, and this is just indicative of one of the 6 companies that's in this portfolio of operating companies, and operating companies have been left behind. I talk with serious investors every day, highly educated fund managers running billions of dollars, and they still only think of opportunity zones to be useful for real estate.
Isn't that incredible?
Yeah, my mission is to educate them as well as show them that this is a perfect balance to their portfolio to diversify in something that's risk mitigated with this kind of historic track record, 70-year-old track record of proven exits at high above over 8x. So.
Well, Will, tell us about some of your projects that are exciting.
Well, I spoke about Vanderhall Motorworks, and you can go to vanderhallmotorworks.com. Very exciting. Another of our portfolio companies that I'm personally excited about. If you can remember, I opened our talk up with. I cut my teeth on a newfangled thing back in the 80s called cable TV, which no one ever thought was going to be anything except sputter around, and it was only going to be the major networks. And they needed an award-winning actor at the time to get up on stage and talk to investors about, no, we bring the eyeballs, we're going to get the content from the major studios, and this cable was going to be everywhere. Someday we'll have a news channel, we'll have a weather channel, we'll have a financial news channel. People used to laugh at me, but anyway, it all fortunately turned true. And so one of my companies that I'm very, very excited about is called Surefy Chips. It's in the chip section. But what Surefy does, SURE-FI.com is the website. It's amazing. It eliminates all wiring for the last mile. So not only does it really eliminate copper and all the expense going into hospitals or buildings of any kind. In fact, we went through all 80 floors of it at the Empire State Building in New York. And this also adds voice and data transmission, very secure. It's top quality, secure, and it's currently being used all over by Facebook and many other large companies. We're partnered. Our installing partner is Johnson Controls, who's the 800-pound gorilla in everything ecosystem, in communication and in wiring. And Johnson JCI is their call letters. You know, they have Microsoft, Facebook, Federal Express. They're all clients, and several of those, including Facebook, are already big clients of Surefy. So they could use anything they wanted because they only deal with the biggest and best companies in the world, and they all tried to break Surefy's code, could not, for voice data transmission, last mile security. Goes through steel, goes through concrete. It's amazing. And this is another one that is not long for this world. If you're an investor out there listening, all 6 of these companies are on the fast track in the next 2 to 4 years, which is Hall's historic time frame for exiting both private and public, these mature companies. And many are in revenue, like Surefy. They'll do about $4 million this year in revenue. Vanderhall, wow. In profit, in revenue. Vanderhall will do about $60 million, $70 million. But that's before many things are going to hit.
You anticipated my next question, Will. I was wondering if any of these companies are pre-revenue companies that you guys invest in and try to build to the point of profitability.
Yeah. Well, once again, the last 4 companies that we've exited have been pre-revenue, and they've all been over $100 million exits. 2 have been over $200 million in exits. And the last one, SES company, was actually a 17.7x return. That was about a year and a half ago. So good question, and this is why HUD and EIG and anybody who finds these companies, either on single issue or on the fund itself, if they're accredited and can qualify, then, we'd love to talk to them and, let them see all the ins and outs, because once they look, they will never forget it. And you can take 30 years of investing for what it's worth, but and many times another thing to throw in there too, Ron, is we bring in anchor investors early and often to set valuations and really give the strong third-party appeal. I mean, you've got things like I say, like Johnson Controls. You've got Kohler. We've got a big AI toilet I'm excited about called Medic. Another one your audience might want to look at is Medic.life. And this is an AI toilet that predicts 85 preventable diseases out there, everything from high blood pressure and hypertension to COVID to diabetes. It's amazing. We've got 70 patents issued. I haven't even gotten to the best part yet, because years ago when I found Hall, out of all my family offices I deal with on a regular basis and advise, once I saw their patents and not the fact that they had their own patent office right on their Opportunity Zone campus and all of that, all those things. When I saw the patents issued on all of these companies, over 1,200 patents issued, that's my coup de grace. That's my wow. I found something that's unbelievable, whether it's in an Opportunity Zone or not, because I get about 60-40 of investors that come in that don't care if it's tax advantaged or not. They just know these companies are very investable.
Yeah, and when you have a track record like that, then that's a very attractive phone call you want to take, for sure.
Yeah, so the licensing, remember, they invented the man-made diamond in the 50s, and they licensed that and patented that and sold it 5 times. Schlumberger, General Electric, I could go down 3M. They're all at our campus on a regular basis. If they don't maintain an office there, they're all visiting.
Do you guys look
monthly.
at opportunity zones? Do you guys look at opportunity zones across the whole country?
We do, but once again, right now we're so focused on some of the companies, but we do find companies and affiliations that we bring onto campus, on our campus once they fit our criteria. So, But we do. I talk with different accelerator incubators and opportunity zones all over. I speak on many different opportunity zone podcasts and speak at different conferences, that type of thing. So, yeah, we're always.
Is that how you find these companies? Or do these companies find you as well?
No, most of the companies are with. Remember, we have 700 employees. We have 200 full-time scientists and engineers on our campus. So what they're looking at is multi-billion-dollar worldwide problems. That's what they start with, and then if they can come up with an idea, solution, and start to execute on it, they get a little bit of money. They get to share our resources. They can walk next door and consult with everybody from 3D printing to patent attorneys. Everything is walk next door in this huge campus. It's really amazing, and I sent you and Vicki a flyover virtual couple-minute look, virtual tour that your audience can request and get my information and request that as well to take a really quick look. But we really do incubate, but we bring some companies in from outside as well, too, that need growth and need to take advantage of our shared resource, situation.
Well, I'm afraid to watch that video. I think I may want to move to Utah.
Well, I hated to move away from California after 40 years because I had direct flights into Provo from Orange County, as well as 5 flights a day to Salt Lake. So I'm always up there speaking or doing something.
Now you're enjoying the beaches of Florida, right?
Yeah, well, it's great. It's great. It's a little far away from a lot of things I've known for many years, but it was the right time, and everything has to kind of switch gears occasionally as well. And there's a lot. One of the big Vanderhall dealerships out here, I'm going to go to a big event there, is down in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and they sell more Vanderhalls than any other dealership in the country here, because of the weather.
And Will, you mentioned the term earlier in the podcast I never heard of before. About three months ago, I never heard of this, but now I hear it all the time. It's called ESG investing. Can you explain what that is? Well,
I mean, you're looking at social impact. You're looking at anything that's carbon neutral. You're looking at anything that is socially and high impact important. So solar energy, wind, certainly anything with clean air, clean water. That's why I'm so high on the Vanderhalls, because we have big things coming out with jet skis, all electric jet skis, snowmobiles, things like that. And I'm working here with the mayor of Miami to clean up. They have an algae problem, and clean up the marinas with these high-performance all-electric power sports, including the new four-wheel drive Brawley, which has got already over 1,000 orders in for it. It's been featured. Jay Leno's, we've been featured twice on Jay Leno's Garage on TV, and the Vanderhall is and the Brawley and all of these ESG products are indicative of that fulfillment with high performance, and certainly the wave of the future. So all of the agendas coming out of our federal government and many local governments are all mandated and tax advantaged towards ESG projects that help the environment as well as create jobs. Once again, it always comes back to, and that's why Hall is such a win-win story for investors as well as for government agencies. It's jobs, 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 but then exits, transactions, and exits.
Yeah,
so
that's
the
true.
bottom line for both entities moving forward.
I have to be honest, I was one of those people who when these opportunity zones came out and I first learned about it, I was strictly on the real estate end of it. I thought the real estate end of it was really the great incentive, bargain, whatever you want to call it. But then once you start realizing what the project's all about and how it could be successful, the focus turned totally to the business development, because as you mentioned before, if you don't have the business opportunities and create jobs for people, these opportunity zones, the actual purpose of it is going to fail. And
yeah.
I'm really impressed what you guys are doing and all the success you're having. It's really pretty amazing.
Well, it's a high tide lifts all boats, Ron. I say this a lot on stage and in private as well to my investors and family offices. It is the Johnny-come-lately group of operating companies. And like I say, these companies out of Hall and this campus were going to happen anyway. In fact, I call this fund the Anyway Fund. And years ago, we got a call from the government, Utah government, and said, hey, guess what? On top of everything else you're doing and helping profit from and jobs from, you're in an opportunity zone. So this was we call it the Anyway Fund, because these are companies that address huge worldwide problems and are right on time, and, they're highly risk mitigated with multiple patents and anchor investors, and I could go down the line. Like I say, it checks every box as a, accredited investor myself, and one who advises quite a few of them in family offices. So it's a rare bird where it checks every box and also has that, like Vicki says, the cherry on top of being tax advantaged.
Yeah. It's interesting to me how sometimes there's so many people who have like tunnel vision, or they're short-sighted when it comes to innovation and things like the internet started and nobody could understand it. Email, nobody could understand it. Cell phones, everybody thought it was crazy. But now there's so much technological advancement just in the past couple of years, and I'm wondering, how does Hall approach blockchain, and how do they, or are they incorporating that into anything that they're doing?
Yeah. Well, I'm a big blockchain believer and have been in it for a number of years, as well as certain digital currencies and digital applications. So I'm your huckleberry there. But they develop. Hall is known for tangible technology. So when you think of Hall Family Office, Hall Venture Partners, think of tangible technology. Anything tangible technology that is patentable, but also addresses huge problems, huge, markets and that type of thing. The other thing that Hall does well is they build to scale. The Brawley, the Vanderhall, all these other electric vehicles are 200,000 plus, most of them, and they're not in profit. We're in profit, and we're 39,000, 29,000. I could go down the line. We have a 70% margin in our Surefire chips that I bragged about or talked about, and they're like, 70% margin. They're like $559 an application, a chip. And even though Facebook and these companies buy hundreds of them at a time and are increasing all the time their order flow, These are all very affordable, either wholesale or retail. So they answer big problems. They scale in tangible technology, and they are working on some blue and green hydrogen solutions. Remember, with our 200 scientists and engineers for many solutions that can aid in certain aspects of digital technology and production. So I'll just let it go at that because, yes, blockchain for records reporting, I'm a big believer, and certainly we're using some of that in our inner office and capability, but that's not really per se Hall. Think of Hall, you think of, like I say, you've got a toilet of all things. Everybody has to go to the bathroom, everybody. And to be able to have real-time HIPAA-approved, real-time data spit out on things you have to do anyway every day and really get, 50% of the human population has something preventable that they could do something about if they even knew about it, but they don't know. It may even be a higher percentage than that. So whether you're in an assisted living home or you're at home yourself, I'm borderline diabetic. I'm one of the first on the list to get one of the medic toilets, which can really, really help on many levels for people, whether in a home or, in a residential home or in a more of a hospital or group setting. So anyway, just kind of giving you the lay of the land there. I don't want to get too far off on blockchain, but think of tangible technology, Vicki and Ron and audience.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I heard about this company called Bacon.
Yeah.
Who names a company Bacon, Will, and what is it?
Well, it's certainly people like me who need a medic toilet to watch out because they've eaten so much bacon in their life and continue to. So yeah, bacon's a really interesting company in our portfolio, and once again, I encourage everybody that's listening or finds this to contact me for a deck and a summary for all these companies because they're all on the fast track for potential public and private exits here in our historic 2 to 4 year exit strategy. But yeah, Bacon is a temporary help agency that has such an incredibly different, refreshing format for this type of workforce. And they just opened in Las Vegas about 6-8 months ago. They've tripled in revenue there, but they're in high growth areas like Austin, Texas, Boise, Idaho. I could go on down. And people want flexibility in their work schedule, and they want to set their own pay. Seniors, students, regular workers, whatever, they all love the flexibility and the mindset and placement of Bacon for temporary help and workers. It's really blowing away all the stats out there and all the mom and pops. It's a very fragmented industry anyway, the temporary help agencies out there, but even the big ones can compete with Bacon. Once again, we've got many of our systems patented, very moldable, and just really excited about Bacon and their growth. And, I know Las Vegas is going to continue to see the profitability and usefulness of Bacon. Even I'm sure we all know the temporary shortage of workers out there all over the country, but like I say, the workforce, the workspaces, the schedules, all of that has changed since COVID. It was even changing before that. I believe COVID just really, sped things up, where people really do want to pick their spots and set their hours and days they want to work and schedules and even pay. And the Bacon, the Bacon apparatus lets you do all of that. And it's really amazing how it functions and is being so incredibly well received in profitability.
Well, in Vegas, we have a high hospitality workforce. Is
Yep.
Would bacon be something that
Yep.
would work within that industry?
You're so smart, killing it. From maid service to you name it, we're killing it in a good way. Yes, so all of that is workers that bacon would offer and put in. And one of the things that people love about bacon is once they get a job or temporary and they work out, many people go on to be in management. People are so desperate to hire and train good people. Once they get them, they don't want to let them go, and they may offer them even an upward position. But regardless, if they want to stay on permanently, we don't charge them anything. We let them go. So people love this, and employers love this, the fact that they can get that kind of that kind of help and evaluate it, and and like I say, we don't stand in the way of anybody and their future, and other agencies will take 20, 30, 40, 50, 60% of their first year income.
Exactly.
If they decide to keep them. It's
and that's detrimental too, because not only do you find a good worker, a good employee, then you have to pay for them, and if something happens, you paid for it, and maybe they're not there in 5 months, 6 months for whatever reason. So
absolutely,
that's really innovative to just here's a good person, you can have them.
Yes, exactly, Vicki. And there's other things there too, where we're really, if someone gets sick or doesn't show up, as can happen when you're, sending a company calls, I need 50, I need 10, I need 3, whatever. We have such a great system for backup and things like that. It's just really refreshing, innovative, to checks and balances and make sure they have the full contingent of workers they need at the right shift, the right time, with the right, aptitude. So bacon is really, really unbelievably exploding. All over the country. We have 10 other cities that are begging for bacon right now. So once again, any astute investors, accredited investors out there, please let's let you look at all 6 of these companies and see for yourself.
Yeah, Will, if they're listening to this podcast right now and they want to get more information, what's the best way to contact you? Or email, phone, or anything?
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, Ron. I'm my email is, the best thing is to email me and send me a request for a deck summary or an intro call, which I'd be glad to do, and let me know what your appetite is and what you're interested in. And that's W. Walker, W-A-L-K-E-R, at Hall, HALLVP, VictorPaul.com.
Excellent.
So that's W. Walker at HallVP.com. And I encourage everybody to, see some of the videos and the deck and summary and things like that. It's I call it a Disneyland for growth and proven exits, proven resources and proven exits that we have here.
It's a Disneyland without having to wait on the lines, right? There you go.
there you go. Well, like I say, these six in the Hall Venture Partners, are our 6 best, and right now, and this is definitely the timing to set up the rest of the OZ community too in operating companies and let people know there is a balance, there is diversity, there is highly risk mitigated circumstances that are really, like Vicki says, the whole premise for the Opportunity Zone theme that Cory Booker and the rest put forward. Hall answers the bell on every point, but this will help a lot of people in their own projects as operators and, moving forward. So,
yes. And with all the projects that you're working on, Will, I'm really impressed that you actually had the time to come out to Vegas for the conference. That was great.
Well, I had an ulterior motive. I was glad to be at the conference, number one, and appreciated that opportunity to speak. But also I took about 10 family offices that came from all over, and 5 very, higher level investors up to our campus in Provo, which is only a 50-minute flight from Vegas. And certainly they got their eyes knocked out, so in a good way. So it was a good segue.
Yes, and Vicki, isn't it great to see Opportunity Zone projects that are succeeding and really forwarding the program? Isn't it a great thing?
It's so great, Ron. That's absolutely correct. It's so great to, like you said earlier, most people focused on the real estate aspect, and still people focus on multifamily and that kind of projects. But the Opportunity Zone program is so much more, and when you really dig into it and follow the purpose of the program, as Hall is doing, it's just, I don't know how to say it, but it warms my heart, and I love to see how people create the wheel, change the world, and make everything better. And with Opportunity Zones, that's a score. I congratulate you, Will, on Hall and the things that they're doing. It's very impressive and very special.
Thanks. Well, I'm just a small part of it, and 3 years ago when I found it, out of many of the family offices that I've worked with for many years on investments and strategies and that type of thing, to find this, and it was really just an absolute gift. For me personally, as somebody who is really always out there looking for the holy grail, I guess you'd say, whether in or out of a tax advantage strategy like the Opportunity Zones, and this was a rare bird, and very fortunate to have it and have such great management partners, and like I say, it's a really shared resource community, that has been perpetuated by Tracy Hall, who was the, forerunner. He was a professor at BYU. He moonlighted and invented the man-made diamond at Brigham Young University in his spare time. And, then he took over this old steel mill, which was the largest employer west of the Mississippi. And he turned that around and turned it into this incredible accelerator for companies and growth and innovation. And it really is a modern day Edison Labs. And that's what he always dreamed of creating 70 years ago. And he has. He studied, he was actually at the original Edison Labs in his day and time and worked there for a while before he became a professor at BYU. And then he dreamed someday I'm going to create the exact same model here, and employ people and innovate companies and stuff that Edison did at his lab that he worked as a scientist, as an engineer himself. And then I'm going to create the same thing here, and he did it. He did it.
Yep.
And it's never, it's inspiring. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, it's an amazing success story. It's a great way to end the podcast. And before we do that, Will, I hope maybe we can get you on again on another show as things progress and more deals happen. This was a really great podcast, really great information. And I really thank you a lot for taking the time out for being on the show. Thanks again.
Yeah, well, thank you, and Vicki too, Ron. I'd love to, because sometime in October, next 30 days, I should be able to talk a lot more about the VanderHallMotorworks.com and other projects that are in this venture partner in our fund. Out of these 6, that's just one of the 6, and love to have the opportunity to continue to highlight some of the things that are about to happen with these 6 companies moving forward.
Great.
As well.
Okay, well, thank you again for being a guest. And Vicki, thanks for co-hosting this episode. And folks, you're listening to the Mappable USA podcast on MappableUSA.com. If you go to that website, you scroll down a little bit, you'll see all our syndication sources. Pick the one you like best, subscribe, and you'll never miss another one of our episodes. If you want to be a guest on the show like Will was today, there's a guest tab there. Just fill that out. We'll see what we can do about getting you on the show. And if you like what you heard today, send us an email at info@MappableUSA.com or just leave a comment on whatever page you're listening to this on right now. So thanks for listening. Thanks for your support. We'll be at you next time with another Mappable USA podcast. Have a great week, everyone.